change. I'm here in Jonesboro, Georgia on a Saturday afternoon. And as you know, every Saturday we do the Sugar Buster series, which is all about diabetes, self-management, education, and training. Healing Our Village is a certified program. And we have a 7-part series where you will learn everything that you need to know about your diabetes. So I am very happy that you're here. If you're watching me on Facebook, I have a chat function that's there. Just send me a question. I have people monitoring the chat. So this is a live program. I can answer questions about diabetes. Push this out to your friends. Let's get some viewing parties going on here, because I am really not happy with where we are right now with the management of diabetes in this country. It is really, really bad. I'm focusing on seniors now. I'm going to senior housing. I'm going to senior complexes, and their diabetes and their high blood pressure is just off the chain. It's out of control. So we have got to do better. Now, the segment we're going to do today is called Goal Setting and Behavior Change, but we're also going to talk about stress and depression. This is a topic that right now, it is about to be Thanksgiving, it's about to be Christmas, and this is the time of year where the suicide rate actually goes up. There's a whole lot of you out there that are depressed, you're unhappy, you're having a hard time coping, and you're not even aware that this is going on. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in this segment. Because if you have diabetes or any other chronic disease, that just can intensify your depression and your anxiety. So let's get into it today. We're going to be talking about goal setting, coping skills, behavioral change, and stress and depression. Now, the main thing I need you to know is that you are your primary care provider. You're the one that sets your goals in terms of weight loss. You're the one that actually plans your what you're going to eat, what you're going to do every day, how you get there, how many pounds you want to lose, how fast do you want to lose. All of those are goals that you set for your management of your diabetes, right? Now you work with your doctor, to your primary care physician. You work with that physician or nurse practitioner, and they and you need to sit down and come up with what your blood pressure goal should be, what your blood sugar goal should be, what your weight should be. And so you should know those numbers. You have to. So, because you can't get to a destination unless you know where it is. You know, you got to set your GPS. You know what destination you're trying to get to, and then you plot your course to get there. Very important, because you can't achieve your goals unless you know what they are. So you have to achieve it. The doctor can't do it for you. Your family can't do it for you. Your husband, your wife, your significant other, they can't do it for you. So you have to figure out what those goals are and how you're going to get there, how you're going to achieve those goals. Now, when you think about self-management goals, there are actually 6 different components of that, all right? They're affected by your lifestyle. It's affected by your spirituality. It's affected by how well you adhere to your treatment plan. It also is affected by how productive you are. You got to figure out ways to reward yourself when you get to your various goals. That's really important. And relationships. I think out of this whole thing, the 2 most important things to me are your relationships and your spirituality. People talk a lot about all the other stuff. But you have to, first of all, have people in your life that are on your team. That they're not sabotaging you. They're not bringing you more stress. They're not causing you to be more depressed. All right? Because if, in fact, they are bringing all of that to you, you have to then figure out how to cope with that. All right? And it can take you off your path. It'll slow you down from getting to your destination. So relationships and the people that are in your life makes a big thing, but you also have to avoid isolating yourself. All right, you got to get some people, positive people in your inner circle, that are there for you. So if you're feeling down, you just need to talk. You got to have somebody to do that with. And sometimes it's not your family. My friends are closer to me than my family. My friends call me up and check on me regularly. I never hear from my nieces and nephews. I never hear from my family. They don't call me. Once in a while, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. But by and large, they're busy. That's what they say. They're busy. I'm busy, Aunt Lenore. So, you're the one that should call me. All right. Well, I think it's a two-way street, and I do call them. But I'm the one who's 70 years old, right? So I need people in my life who are calling me on a regular basis. They're there for me. They're there to help me with my stress, my anxiety, give me a word of encouragement about not eating too much, getting more exercise. That's what I need in my life. So relationships to me are like critical. All right. Spirituality has been found to be important. All right. Because you have got to have some kind of higher power in your life so that you realize that you are not in control of everything that's going on. That there's somebody else out there in control. And that actually takes a lot of pressure off of you. If you know that it's not just all your burden to carry, that somebody else has another higher power that's more in control of the situation that can carry some of this burden. So that's really important. Self-rewarding yourself when you hit your goal. If you lose that 5 pounds, what are you going to do nice for yourself? Just make sure it's not a piece of cake or the candy. All right. You got to come up with other ways, other things that, you can do that make you happy. Everybody's got to figure out what makes them happy and use those as ways to reward themselves. And then as a pharmacist, I'm really very interested in everybody adhering to their treatment plan. So not only their medications, but what we figured out is your calorie intake, what we figure out is your exercise, and adhering to that treatment plan. Because you can't get to your goals, you can't get to your destination unless you follow the path. You got to follow the path. All right? So now, let's talk about goal setting. It's just not something that happens. You got to develop a plan. Your plan that you develop must answer the following questions, okay? What am I going to do inside that plan? How much am I going to do it? Is this something I'm going to do 3 times a week, every day? My friend walks every day. My friend gets in a minimum of 15,000 to 17,000 steps every day. Every day. All right? So you have got to figure out how much, whatever it is you're going to do for your lifestyle changes, your diet, you're changing your diet, changing your exercising, you have to do that every day or 3 times a week or 4 times a week. You got to pick. Whatever you pick, though, you have to follow it. So you not only have to know what you're going to do, you're going to have to know how often you're going to do it, and then what time of the day you're going to do it. Is it going to be something I do in the morning? Is it something I do during the work day? I do it at my lunchtime. Is it something I do after work? You have to figure all of that out. You have to do something that we call as part of motivational interviewing. You have to come up with, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident you are that you're going to do whatever it is you decided to do. And that number on a scale of 1 to 10 needs to be 6 or higher. So if you don't think, if you're on a scale of 1 to 3, your ability to walk every day is a 3, then that's a problem, because that means you're not going to do it. All right. And I struggle with that right now because I'm so busy. And so because I'm so busy, because I'm working very hard, right, every day, I am exhausted when I get home. So I cannot do anything I know after work. After work's not going to work for me. So I have to figure out how to do things before work or actually during the day, during the work hours. I have been most successful in my life doing things during work. All right? So you got to get your confidence up. You got to make an assessment on a scale of 1 to 10, how important you think whatever you're going to do is on a scale of 1 to 10, and how confident you are that you're going to be able to achieve that thing. All right? So the next step to goal setting is you got to identify the changes specifically. You got to be really specific. You have to identify the things specifically that you want to change or do. And then you have to break those things down into what they call small, achievable, and challenging, and needs to be a behavior. You have to think about those changes in those terms. So whatever change it is, it needs to be a small change. It needs to be something that you can do. So if you tell me that you're going to run a 10K, and right now you haven't done any exercise, then that's not a good goal, because you're not able to run a 10K next weekend. That's not, first of all, it's not small. And second of all, you're not going to be able to do that. You might start the 10K, but you're not going to finish the 10K. You have to work for months to get in shape to do that kind of thing, right? You want it to be challenging. You don't want it to be too easy. So you got to challenge yourself a little bit, right? And it needs to be what we call a behavior, something that you can do, something you do. Right? So, not only should it be something you do, but it needs to be something you want to do. So, perfect example. I have got to lose weight. I had knee surgery a few months ago, and so my knee is better now. I feel like I can really get back to exercising, right? In a pretty good way, on a consistent basis. So this morning, I called my line dancing instructor. I called my line dancing guy. I said, listen, I need you to come over here so we can get you on camera, so I can do your advanced class and your intermediate class, and I can have it videotaped so I can then watch it at my house when I'm ready to do it. And he said, no problem. So he's coming over. I'm going to pay him to give me a private lesson, and I'm going to get him on tape, so I can then perfect the dance moves, because I love line dancing. I will do it, and it is great exercise. All right, so this is my plan. I have a plan now. I actually activated the plan, and hopefully he'll get over here to my studio within the next couple of weeks so I can then implement the plan. That's what I'm talking about. So you have to go through that thought process, just like I went through that thought process over the last couple of weeks. Now, these are the things that I want you to try to change in terms of behaviors. So a behavior is healthy eating. What does that mean? That means stop drinking your calories. Everything you drink needs to be 5 calories or less. So that's the first thing with healthy eating. Also eating more fruits and vegetables throughout your day. You have to be intentional about that. How are you going to make that happen? I made a goal for myself a couple months ago that I'm going to eat more fresh vegetables. So I don't buy processed foods anymore. I don't buy frozen vegetables or canned vegetables. I eat nothing but what's in the produce section. And I cook it ahead so it's in my refrigerator ready to go. I wash it ahead. So I got my salad fixings all in little containers so I can just throw the salad together. Physical activity, I planned my line dancing. Some of you maybe want to walk around the park or walk around your neighborhood. You need to plan that activity, okay? Or go to the gym and take a Zumba class. Whatever it is, you got to plan it. And then you have to think about how you're going to do it. Taking your medications, monitoring your blood sugar. For everybody who has diabetes, everybody needs to be monitoring their blood sugar. Everybody needs to have a blood glucose monitor like this, right? and you need to be using it every other day, every day, depending upon what your blood sugar is. If you don't have one, buy one. If you want a one that's very accurate and doesn't cost so much, they're on my website. You just go to HOVHealth.com, go to the store, buy the meter, and we'll ship it to you. So important that you monitor your blood sugar. You also have to get rid of those bad habits. If you're a smoker, you got to get rid of that. If you're drinking a lot of alcohol, then you got to stop that. And mainly because of the calories. Mainly because of the calories. That's extra calories that you're throwing into your diet plan. And then coping with stress. And so we're going to talk more about that. So let's talk about that. Coping and behavioral change. A lot of people, when you first got diagnosed with your diabetes, thought that this was a death sentence. I consider it to be a life sentence because now you know that your blood sugars are high, which is good, and you can start doing something to get those numbers under better control. So this is actually good. There are people who never get diagnosed with diabetes. The 8-9 million people out there that don't know that they have diabetes. That's not good. That's not good. So it's better to know than to not know. And so think of this as a good thing that happened, as a blessing, that now you're aware that there is an issue and you can do something about it. Okay, so if you are a person with diabetes, the question is, who have you told? Who needs to know? And if you did tell somebody, how did it affect them? All right. A lot of times when you get diagnosed with diabetes and you tell your family members or your close friends, they all of a sudden want to become the diet police. And so every time you're around them and you may order something that they think you shouldn't have or do something that they think you shouldn't do, they're all in the mix, right? Telling you about, well, are you supposed to be doing that? Does your doctor know you're doing that? Okay, that's bad. Don't do that. You tell them, thank you very much, but don't do that. Okay? You're aware of what's going on and you're trying to make that thing work for you. So that's what you let them know. I got this. Thank you for your input. All right? I know it's out of love, but that stresses me out. So, okay, so that's the first thing. So you got to manage that. You got to control that. You have to control your environment. And part of your environment is who you have in your environment, your friends and family. All right? So when you were first diagnosed, maybe you had some of these reactions. Maybe it made you really afraid. And the reason maybe that you were afraid is because your mom had it or your grandmother had it or someone in your family had diabetes and they ended up losing their eyesight or losing their kidney or having a heart attack. And so you're now worried that those same things will happen to you because it happened to them. Well, I can tell you right now that you should not be afraid. Because this is all about knowing your numbers and controlling your numbers. And then those bad things I just mentioned, the risk of them happening to you is very low. So it's all about controlling what you're doing. So, for instance, I have prediabetes. And so I am trying to watch what I eat. Eliminate my carbs. I try to eat very little carbs. And it's hard because I love carbs. And so sometimes I don't do so good. All right. So the other day I got one of the A1C Now kits. There's a kit that's over the counter that you can actually test your A1C. And if you remember from episode 1, that's how I monitor how well my blood sugar is doing over the 3-4 month period. So I was scared to death to do my A1C. But it came out 5.5, which is great. That's like in the normal range, and I'm just excited about that. So when I looked at all of my highs and all of my lows, I'm doing pretty good. I have more low blood sugars than I have high blood sugars, and that's what the A1C tells me. All right. So, but when I was doing that test, when I was waiting for that 5 minutes for that test result to come back, I had a little fear. I did. So I understand that. Maybe you were angry. Why me? Why do I have to do this? I don't want this, right? So a lot of people get angry or they get depressed. And we're going to talk more about depression. Or they get anxious. Or they say, you know what? I don't believe it. Okay, and I know that happens because I do health fairs. And I have people who come to my health fair and their blood sugars are 250, 300, 400. And I'll say, oh my God, your blood sugar is crazy, it's high. Do you have diabetes? And they say, well, no. And I say, okay, so nobody's ever told you you had high blood sugar. Well, my doctor told me, a couple years ago that my blood sugar was high, but I didn't believe it. Okay, they denied it. We have a lot of denial going on in this country right now, okay? The stuff that's real, people say, I don't believe it. And they're not believing that what right there in front of them. They don't even believe what they see. All right? So diabetes is something you can't see necessarily. But if your doctor tells you that you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, please accept it and let's start working on trying to make it better. So maybe you blame yourself or your family or who knows what. Okay, but we cannot do that. Now, I want to talk about diabetes and depression. All of those symptoms that we just felt, all of those feelings that you might have had may make you depressed. So let's talk about what depression is. Depression, it comes from an actual change in the chemical functioning of your brain. So you have these chemicals called serotonin and dopamine, and they're very essential in your brain function, how well you're able to think about stuff, react to stuff. And if those levels of those chemicals get altered, it can cause depression, it can cause schizophrenia, it can cause bipolar disease, it can cause all sorts of mental health, behavioral health issues, right? So depression can also be caused by stress or if someone in your family dies. So let's think about how many people died of COVID in the last 2 years. These were friends and family members. There's a lot of loss that happened in the last 24 months. And because of that difficult life event, it affected your environment, especially if this was a close family member. All right, so depression can actually be caused by life events, but there are also some medications that if you take them, it actually can worsen your depression. So you need to know that. And depression actually affects what we call your activities of daily living. It can affect your ability to function in your day-to-day life, all right? So depression is a big deal. And it's more common in the United States of America than it is in other parts of the world. We have more depression here than we have anywhere else. Now, when we talk about diabetes, talk about depression, we're talking about having diabetes actually doubles your risk. And it might be due to the stress and strains in your life. And if you have depression, it can lead to poor mental and medical functioning of your body. Oh, I'm going to get some water here. Thank you so much. And because you're depressed, you might eat more, so that just messes up your meal plan. If you're depressed, you don't want to get out the bed, so that just messes up your exercise routine. And so you end up gaining weight. And as a woman who has been fattening her weight her whole life, when I'm overweight and I can't get in my clothes, that makes me depressed. Depression can also make you stop taking your medicines. And we want to make sure that if you're on medication, that you're taking those medications as prescribed. It is so important. So, these are 3 really important things that I just talked to you about, and you cannot control your chronic diseases if you're depressed. So you have to figure this whole depression thing out. I'm one of these people that always look at the glasses as half full. I just don't allow myself to slip into these depressive moods. But let me tell you something, life affects us. I've had a lot of stuff going on in my life. A lot of stuff. Stuff that makes you depressed. But I am just not going to let it take me over. I'm not. So I have to, every day, do something in my life that makes me happy. And I know what makes me happy. I have identified those things that make me happy. So when I start feeling myself kind of slipping into that whole depression and kind of feeling bummed out and sad, I try to go out and do something I know that makes me happy. Okay, so you got to figure out what those coping things are. What things make you happy? What people make you happy? And then start to incorporate that into your life on a daily basis so that you can deal with all of the stressors that we're going through right now in this country. There's a lot of stress and strain right now. People don't even know that they're anxious or that they're depressed. Now, what causes depression, especially in people with diabetes? Well, everyone reacts differently to stressful events. Just finding out that you got diabetes can make you depressed, all right? People with diabetes have depression because they're worrying about the long-term complications. You saw your family member maybe lose their eyesight or have to go to dialysis or have a heart attack. And so you're worried about those same complications happening to you. If you're a person that needs to inject insulin, and some people with diabetes, even type 2 diabetes, have to use insulin because they've had diabetes a long time and the oral medicines aren't working anymore, so you got to go to insulin. We know that, when and how you inject can affect your daily life. Now, maybe you have to inject twice a day, so you have to figure out how you're going to work that out. Are you going to do it before and after work or during work? Or you have to figure those things out, and that can make you depressed because now you got something else you got to think about. And you don't want to think about that. I understand. I got so much to think about, I can't even figure out if I'm coming or going. But, it is what it is. If you're a certain kind of a person that has a certain kind of job, and now all of a sudden you got diabetes and you have to inject insulin, maybe your job may need to know about that. If you're a truck driver, for instance, it might affect your insurance and all kinds of things like that, right? And then you think about, again, maybe diabetes and how the damaging effects of diabetes affected your friends and family. And so you then internalize that and say, oh, okay, well, this is probably going to happen to me too. Okay? But that's not true. So you don't have to accept that diabetes for me is going to be the same as diabetes that happened to my mom or my grandmother or my father. It doesn't necessarily have to go that way. You are in control of how that's going to be affected because we can get your blood sugar under good control and almost to normal. We can do that. That's what we do here at Healing Our Village, is help people get their blood sugars under good control. And so they're not going to have the long-term complications. Or if they do get a few complications, the complications are minor. And that's what we're trying to do. Now, have you ever seen or known anyone who was depressed? Do you know what that looks like? You need to know what that looks like because you may have family members that are depressed and you need to know the signs of depression. All right? If you have kids in your life, you need to know when those kids are depressed because kids do not have the coping skills that adults have. And so we have more teen suicides than we have ever had. And these kids have parents. And their parents are missing the signs of depression. We are living in a world of bullying. One of my colleagues just told me about a child that was bullied and tried to kill themselves. And the mom was oblivious to what that kid needed at that moment in time. She actually contributed to it because he was being bullied at school. And so he didn't want to go to school. And so she forced him to go to school. That was a solution. Her solution was, you just need to get over it. I'm sorry. All right. So no, we got to do better. You got to know the signs of depression. So if you have family members or friends and you're seeing that, they seem like they're different, they're sad, and they're not the way they usually are, you need to find out what's going on. All right. And help them, and not give them these trite, easy fixes, because it's not easy. Life right now in 2022 is not easy. So you need to figure out how you're going to help these folks that are potentially depressed. And you need to know the signs of depression. So here are the symptoms of depression. And you can see there's a wide range of symptoms. Wide range. So we're talking about prolonged sadness, feeling down. This is not just I'm kind of down today, but I'm fine tomorrow. This is sadness for weeks. Sadness for months. They're irritable. They always want to pick a fight with you. They're angry. They're worried. They're tired all the time. I mean tired, can't get out the bed tired. Okay? They feel guilty, or they don't feel like they're worth anything. That you'll see by their conversation changes. And they're always getting down on themselves. It's like, give yourself a break. You know what? It ain't that bad. No, you're not worthless. You absolutely have all sorts of things that you can contribute to the world around us. Weight loss, weight gain. If they've been depressed for prolonged periods of time, they stop eating, and all of a sudden they start losing weight. Or they start eating too much and start gaining weight. Trouble sleeping, very common with depression. And then when it gets really bad, they start thinking about, I don't really want to be here anymore. And they start having that conversation with you. I don't really want to be here anymore. And when someone says that kind of thing to you verbally, when they actually say that, you need to pay quick attention to that. Quick attention, because that means that they're in real trouble. All right, so we're going to break right now. I need you to get up and have a glass of water, walk around a little bit, and come on back, and we're going to finish up talking about coping and diabetes.
Epigallocatechin gallate, superoxide dismutase, glutathione peroxidase. Now, those are names you probably aren't familiar with, but you should be. Those are antioxidants known to fight free radicals. In fact, did you know that some viruses are actually alcohol resistant? One major study showed that by adding the epigallocatechins from green tea, it killed the virus on contact. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mark Johnson. I'm here to share with you an exciting new, technologically advanced, patent-pending green tea hand sanitizing wash from Handout Protection. Now, this is not your typical hand gel designed to just smear all over your hand. This is a hand washing sanitizer to cover your entire hand, both the front and back of your hand, in between your fingers and your wrist. This is a non-sticky sanitizing hand wash designed for convenience to take with you in your purse, pocket, or carry in your lunchbox. As Dr. Josh Ridge has stated, what goes on your body goes into your body. That is why we choose only the highest FDA-compliant ingredients, such as 75% isopropyl alcohol in organic green tea brewed with alkaline water. The only way to protect yourself and your family is to always carry a disposable package of Handout with you. This may be the only handout you ever need.
Hi, this is Dr. Lenore Coleman, President and Founder of Healing Our Village. I want to welcome you back here to our coping skills and depression lecture as part of our Sugar Buster 7-part series. So again, we have someone monitoring our chat. If you have a question about diabetes, put it in the chat. It's important to see that a trained mental health professional if you have depression. It's very important. Usually you can't do this by yourself. You got to get some counseling. Even if it's for just a short period of time, but you need to talk to a trained professional if you're actually one of the people out there that are dealing with depression. And you might need to take some antidepressant medications, at least for a little while, just to kind of get you through, all right, until you're able to feel a little bit better. And these medications are very effective, all right, but they do have side effects. And so you need to be able to come and have the doctor you're seeing monitor those medicines so that you're not experiencing any of the side effects. For those who are into herbal medications, there's something called St. John's wort. And it can actually help. It's a natural way to help depression, but it can cause drug interactions. So if you're going to get St. John's wort, you need to make sure you talk to your pharmacist to make sure that the drugs you're taking don't interact with the St. John's wort. Now, let's talk about diabetes and stress. What exactly is stress? Okay, well, it is some kind of event that produces stress and strain in your life. It's usually a challenging situation or a threatening situation, and it increases your stress level. And we know that your stress level can be influenced by either the individuals around you or your environment. One of the common causes of stress is your work environment. This is someplace that you have to go every day to earn a living. And there may be people at your workplace that are making you crazy, or you hate what you do. So I'm one of these people who believe that if you're unhappy and you don't like where you are, or you don't like what you do, change it. A lot of people just stay stuck in the mud for years, and they're unhappy. That makes no sense to me. You are in control of your destiny. You can change your life. There are people out there called life coaches. We actually have life coaches that work with Healing Our Village. If you joined our Village Club for $6 a month, and you're one of these people who really need some help trying to figure out a life change that you need to make, I got people to talk to you about that, because you are in control. You are setting your destiny. You can change the people you're around. You can change your environment. And sometimes it's just small little changes. You don't have to do big changes. So these things, when you feel like you're stuck, causes you to be stressed. And you need to understand that, and you've got to try to make it change. So, what makes something stressful for most people? Well, there are life events. Like, let's say for those people in LA or Atlanta or DC, for instance, because I've lived in all three places, and you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic every day for an hour. It takes you an hour to get from point A to point B. That's a stressor. It is. Let's say that you're going to go see your doctor and you know you haven't been doing what you're supposed to do, or you're worried that you've been having symptoms and the doctor may say something, and so you're going to get a test done. That can cause stress because you don't know what the results of that stress is going to be. Emails, text messages, phone calls. I monitor that. A lot of people send me emails and I say, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't been home to look at my computer. And they say, well, you don't get your email on your phone? And I said, no. No, I get hundreds of emails a day. No, I'm not going to get them on my phone. No, I'm not going to have my phone beeping at me, notifying me that I got some kind of message. In fact, I tell people, please use text messaging as your last resort to get in contact with me. If you need to tell me something, you need to call me or email me, and I'll look at the email when I get to it. But this whole text messaging stuff, no. Especially for business, I tell everybody, if this is a business matter, you better email me or call me, because I'm not looking at texts. Okay, I get to control that. This is what I'm talking about. The holidays are another huge stressful thing, especially in the black community, especially in ethnic communities. Because as kids, we grew up with a whole picture in our mind of what Thanksgiving looked like and what Christmas looked like and how joyous it was or how it was all about family. And then now I'm grown, and those people that I used to have at the Thanksgiving dinner, they're not speaking to me no more. Okay? They're not in my life anymore. And so now my whole holiday is messed up because I have this picture in my mind of what that holiday used to look like. And so now I'm sad because it don't look like that no more. Okay? So the holidays are hard. They're hard. And so you have to get yourself ready for the upcoming Thanksgiving and the upcoming Christmas and the upcoming New Year. And you have to come up with ways that you're going to make it different. If you need to make it different, you need to make it different. Because like I said, you are in control of who you're around and what you're doing. Now, there are other life events that you would think are positive, but are stressful. So marriages are stressful. Graduations are stressful. The birth of a child is stressful. Now you got a better paying job. It's a new job, but it's stressful. Those are positive things, but they can still be stressful. Especially if you're trying to spend a whole bunch of money on a marriage and you don't have the money. Or you're trying to deal with a new job and you didn't really do enough research. And so therefore now you're in a new job that you hate and you shouldn't have left your old job. All right, so you got to plan. You got to think about this stuff. Otherwise, you got stressful situations, right? So our perspective, our perception of change is the way that we view our life. And if my perception is that my life is good and everything's cool, then I don't have stress. But if my perception is that this is really messed up, then I have stress. So our belief system, our values, our goals, all of those, we set those for ourselves. So you have to be in control of that, right? And just remember that any change that you happen in your life can be stressful. So there is actually a chemical reason for this stress that we sometimes feel. And they're because of these hormones that you have listed here: catecholamines, glucagon, cortisol, growth hormone. These are the things that make us feel stress. That's what causes us to be sweaty or nervous or our heart beating fast or nausea. You have heard about people who have panic attacks. When they're having those panic attacks or stress attacks, these hormones are the reason why they feel the way they feel, right? Now, if you have diabetes and you have these stress hormones going at a mile a minute, that causes your blood sugar to go up. That's a problem. So that's why we want you to get to the point where you're not having these sort of stressful ongoing attacks, because it can affect your blood sugar. So we got to figure out how to cope. We have to cope and figure out how we're going to respond when we get in these stressful situations. Now, there are good strategies and there are bad strategies. We want you to adopt the good strategies, all right? So good strategies help us maintain control. Good strategies help us feel less tense and help us be relaxed. Whereas bad strategies actually worsen the situation, and they make us more tired or more sick or more tense. So example of strategies that are bad: you start smoking, or you increase the amount of packs per day you're smoking. You start drinking too much. You start using drugs. You know, we talk about the use of marijuana and other recreational drugs. That actually is you using those drugs to cope with life stresses. And those drugs can make this thing worse than what you're going through right now. So a lot of people thinking that smoking marijuana helps if you're down, but marijuana is actually a downer. Marijuana makes you more depressed because it affects the chemicals in your brain. I just talked about the chemicals in your brain. So you do not want to self-medicate. This is what we call in pharmacy profession, the medical profession, you're self-medicating, trying to cope with anxiety or sadness or depression or whatever you're trying to cope with, and you're using these recreational drugs to do that. Well, now you've just added on another layer of complexity to this thing. All right, so I encourage you not to do that. All right, a lot of people start going out on shopping sprees, spending a whole bunch of money, buying stuff that they don't have the money for. Now they get the bills at the end of the month, and now you're more stressed because you can't pay the bills. All right, so you don't want to do that. That's not a good thing. Okay, now good strategies is meditation. Good strategies is coming up with exercise programs or things that you like to do. Going to comedy shows, going to a concert, whatever it is you like to do. Doing that because it brings you joy. We started this thing off talking about trying to figure out what brings you joy. Now, some more bad strategies. Just staying in the bed all day, not getting out the bed. Pulling away from family and friends. All of a sudden you don't want to talk to them no more. All right. Now, if they're the cause of your stress, absolutely stop talking to them. Okay. But there are some of your friends that, are really good for you. Some of your family that's really good for you. And so you should not isolate. Self-isolation is not good. If you have diabetes and you may need your family to support you, especially if they're living with you. Right? So, because you need to all be eating the same, you all need to be, working together. And so hiding the diagnosis from your family is not a good idea, especially the ones that live in the same house with you. And then a lot of you don't want no bad news. You're like Eveline, no bad news, no bad news. And so you don't go to the doctor because you're worried about the bad news. But that's not good. That's not good. We're doing something here at You Healing Our Village that's I think it's super cool. And it's called remote patient monitoring. And so we give you blood pressure cuffs and blood glucose monitors where your readings go up to the cloud, and then my pharmacists actually see your numbers and can help you get your numbers under better control. All right, so that is the best way to be able to cope with these chronic diseases like hypertension and diabetes. And you get to see the numbers too. So you now see a little graphic where it shows you where your numbers should be, and then you can see if your numbers are where it should be. That's a good thing. So there are these good strategies that I want you to think about. First of all, you got to learn how to face the problem. Whatever the problem is, just face it head on. All right, don't try to get around it. Try not to not think about it. You got to go for it. And then once you figure out what the problem is, figure out what you can do, what behavioral change you can make, and then try to do it on a routine basis. You got to get into a routine. You got to try to structure your life. The more structured your life is, the less chance that you're going to be stressed out. So that's a coping mechanism, is structure, planning. Incorporating healthy eating and exercise into your day-to-day, rewarding yourself for small successes. All of these are good strategies. Important factors that you need to put into your life that help you with coping is you got to have information. You guys are sitting here now with Google. We didn't have, back in the day, there wasn't no Google. All right, anything I want to know, I can go on Google and just say that whatever it is, everything. It amazes me. I ain't never seen anything like it. Whatever it is that I have a question about, okay, I go to, as Joe Scarborough says on Morning Joe, I go to my Google machine, okay, and I tell Google, and Google tells me what to do. So I have information about everything. Because the more information I have, the less stress and anxiety for me, because I need to know. Okay, I don't like to be in the dark. I want to know what's going on, all right? I need to feel in control. I need to feel like things are improving. I need to feel like I actually get up and I do a brain dump and I get all that stuff that I have to do on a piece of paper. I dump that stuff out of my brain. I write it down. So therefore, if I do that, then now I have a to-do list, a things to-do list. And then even if I only check off one thing out of the 20 things that I got to do, I feel better because I've at least checked off one thing, and it makes me feel better. All right? Having the support of my friends and family and coworkers, I'm blessed because I have a bunch of people in my life that, are there for me. In fact, I decided to have a reunion in Las Vegas at the end of the year, all right, this year, where I've invited all of my college buddies and all of my pharmacy school buddies, and we all gonna gather in Las Vegas, all right? Because I need to see people while they're living. Because I'm not trying to be going to funerals. I don't go to funerals. Okay, so I need to see folks while they're living. So I decided to take the initiative to be the person that puts this thing together. And that makes me feel good because, again, we're talking about taking control. Again, we're talking about I can control my environment, and I'm blessed to be able to afford to do it. That's a blessing for me. So I decided to do it. And I started to hear from these people that I invited. And it's like, wow, In fact, they're starting to send me pictures of what I looked like, 50 years ago, And it's going to be fun. And guess what? I've already dealt with the fact that if nobody comes, I'm going to have me a good old time in Vegas. So I ain't going to worry about if they come. If they come, they come. If they don't come, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm not going to take it as a personal slight. I'm not going to feel bad that they didn't come. Hey, listen, you know what? I am going to be there, and if they're there, cool. If they're not there, that's okay. All right? So being in control, doing things that make me feel better, making sure that I'm in control of the situation as much as I can. That's the way I cope with stress, and that's the way I actually deal with my depression. And I see family and reach out to my friends on a regular. I really do that because it's important. I travel with them. We do things together. That this is a good thing. All right, so I encourage you to do that. Try to figure out the people in your life that you like and are supportive, and keep them close. Keep them close. So now, when you're talking about changing your behavior, a few tips. Start exercising with a friend or family. Start making sure that in your house you got healthy choices, healthy snacks. Start checking your numbers. Start taking your blood pressure if it's high, so you know what your numbers are. And then there are support groups. There's support groups out there that you can join. Or you know what? If there's not a support group in your area, start a support group. Okay? Have people come over, and you guys can just sit down and talk about stuff. Or ask your doctor, hey, you should start a support group, and have the doctor start it at his office. So there is a way to be able to do these things that help you change your behavior. In terms of hobbies, I really encourage that. There were things that you wanted to do when you were young that you haven't gotten to yet. Do it. This is the time to do it. Whatever it is that you thought, I wanted to be a pilot when I was, 21. All right, well, go take some flying lessons. I don't know what it is you wanted to do. I know what I want to do. I still have a whole bunch of places that I still need to go. And so I'm about to do a lot of traveling over the next few years, Lord willing. So that's what I'm going to do, right? But you have to figure out what you want to do. And then incorporate that. Join a book club. Start bicycling. Go to the gym. Start a Zumba class or an aerobics class. Whatever. I don't know. But you have to figure that out. Okay. So that you can change your behavior. There are ways for you to decrease stress through meditation, biofeedback, yoga, mat Pilates. That's also good. Deep breathing. Massage, you can start doing that once a month. All of these things that you can do that takes down the stress, helps you to relax. Hey, maybe you might want to become a massage therapist. Maybe that's something that you want to learn how to do. They make a lot of money. It's a cool thing. Yeah? So you have to figure out what you can do that not only helps you relax, but may help other people that you know relax as well, right? So you have to figure out what changes that you need to do to be happier. Hey, maybe it's comedy shows. Laughter is the best medicine. right? Watch things on YouTube that make you laugh. Watch movies on Netflix that make you laugh. Bring you some joy into your life. I happen to like Harlequin movies. So I watch a lot of those. They make me happy. So I watch those every weekend. This is what I do on Saturdays. I tape them during the week, and then on Saturdays I binge all of my Harlequin movies and mysteries. Or if I've seen them all, then I go and I look for. I'm also a science fiction person. I really love that, so I'll go and I'll watch that. That makes me happy. All right, so laughing is a good way to be able to get some of that stress out. Creating a plan, trying to identify what might be obstacles to your plan, and then measuring your success. All right, measuring your success, and that's why keeping a few people around you that are close friends, because they need to know your journey. And then you can say, do I seem like I'm feeling better? Do I seem like I'm happier? What is your impression? Because they know you. So they'll be able to know if you're getting better or if you still need some more work to do. That's also important. So I'm going to stop here. Again, Healing Our Village is a place that provides all of this kind of activity. This was our Sugar Buster series. It's a 7-part series. If you have diabetes, you gotta watch Sugar Busters. If you have diabetes, you need to subscribe at HOVHealth.com. We have our own YouTube with a collection of videos that you need to watch at Healing Our Village Official. You just go to Facebook, type in Healing Our Village Official, and you'll be able to get to my YouTube page. And it has some of the Sugar Buster series right there. But I encourage you to watch it live if you can on Saturdays, because I change it up every week. So it may be a little bit different. We actually have something called Step Up 90. This is our diabetes prevention program. It's actually an app that you can get on your phone. And you can sign up, and we have classes where we actually talk to patients once a week to help them with their diabetes. So I'm looking to try to start up some classes. Probably we'll start classes again at the first of the year. But we have these classes available that you can be able to participate in and be able to get the app on your phone. This is my village store where I have my blood pressure cuffs and my blood glucose monitors. So we'll be able to work with you to monitor your blood pressure and monitor your blood sugar. We're in Jonesboro, Georgia. I'm on Main Street. We do something called Wellness Wednesdays. If you come here on Wednesdays, we'll take your blood pressure. We'll take your blood sugar. We'll give you some information. I have a book here that we'll give you for free. I wrote a book on diabetes. We'll give it to you. It's here at the building. We're also doing COVID testing here at the building. And I'm worried about COVID coming back. So, because it's about to be cold outside, and COVID likes the cold and not the hot. So we're here for you to be able to get the information that you need. So we're here at 177 North Main Street. We have an 800 number. You don't even have to pay to come talk to us. 800-788-0941. So anybody in the country, if you got any questions, you need our help, we encourage you to join Village Club. So I can then put you with your own coach. We can make sure that you're watching your numbers, that you're tuned in to all of our nutrition support groups and our Sugar Buster series and all of the events that we do. So we really, really encourage you to be able to do the kinds of things that you need to do, and we're here to help you do it. We're here to help you do it. I have dietitians, I have pharmacists, I have doctors, I have life coaches, I have everything you need. Everything you need. So there's no excuse. So we're here to help you, and we want you to come on board. This is our Sugar Buster series, as I said. Thank you for watching, and we really appreciate everything that you're doing out there to live a long and healthy life. Let us help you. All right, thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you next week. Hello, I'm Dr. Lenore Coleman, President and founder of Healing Our Village. Did you know 88 million people in the United States have prediabetes, and that number keeps growing? Did you know that more than 2 in 3 adults in the United States are either overweight or obese? Healing Our Village is excited to introduce Step Up 90, weight loss and diabetes prevention program, all in one. Finally, There is a guided mobile app that will help you lose 5 to 7% of your body weight and help you get your 150 minutes of exercise in every week. All of this is available on your cell phone, notepad, or computer. To install Step Up 90, all you have to do is go to www.stepup90 from your phone or computer and hit the install button. Once the icon is added to your home screen, you can create a unique login and password or use your Facebook or Google login credentials. Do you have prediabetes? Does diabetes run in your family? Well, once you log in to Step Up 90, you can take the diabetes risk test. If you score more than 5, you may be at risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Step Up 90 features the CDC-approved Prevent T2 program, along with their food log, fitness log, and action plan. All materials can be printed or downloaded for easy use. Our monthly calendar provides our virtual class schedule with a reminder 30 minutes before the class to help you remember. Are you looking for easy to understand lifestyle videos, healthy recipes, exercise classes, nutritional support groups, or a cooking demonstration? All of this is available with our premium package. The most unique feature of Step Up 90 is your ability to chat with your lifestyle coach, a clinical pharmacist, or a registered dietitian. These experts will have weekly office hours. They are there to help you achieve your lifestyle goals and manage your medications. Sign up today for Step Up 90. We have our basic package starting at $5.99, featuring our weekly Zoom classes, and our premium package at $19.99. Step Up 90, it is time for you to step up.